Hi guys, Mike here. On a recent video, I went over some of the various parts of the die that I'm building to make these bearing retainers for my reed surface grinder. And one of the things that I sort of glossed over that's kind of important is brake clearance for this die. And I wanted to show a little bit about brake clearance here. And this is a sketch of a pierce punch represented by this. And this is the raw stock right here. And this is the slug going down through the die steel. And so you can see that the size of the opening in the raw stock will be determined by the pierce punch. But the edge of the hole in the raw stock will appear like this, with about 30% of it being sheared, and then it breaks back, and it'll break back about to where the die steel opening is. The slug is going to come out the same size as the opening in the die steel. So if you wanted to save the hole on the top, the spec, the part print spec, that would be the same size as the pierce punch. But if you were saving the slug, like if you were blanking something and you were going to push the part down through the die, then the die opening would have to be the determining factor. And the die, or actually the slug, actually is the reverse of what you have up here on the part on the top. So just a little bit about the various parts of the hole, some of the nomenclature for the hole, pierced hole, is actually, you could think of it like, I'm looking like here. Oops. So, first of all, this right here, this is called rollover. This right here this is called the shear, or land. And this right here is called the brake. So I wanted to clarify that with you, and for your interest, you might want to look at a part on some product that you bought that you can see that it's been produced on a stamping die, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about with this shear, or this rollover on the top. This rollover occurs when you're starting to cut through, and the material will actually try to suck down into the hole just a little bit. And then it'll build up so much pressure, then pow, then it breaks. And that's that break back. So that's the various terms for the inside portion of a pierced hole. And I'm really surprised at some of the interest that was shown on my videos regarding this die that I'm making. And I just wanted to share this with you. Here's a couple of books that I had throughout a lot of my career. This particular book here is called Condensed Practical Aids for the Experienced Die Engineer, Die Designer, and Die Maker. I bought that in 1966, and it's got a lot of good stuff, formulas and various specifications for dies. So that goes clear back to when I was a second-year apprentice. And then this book here is called The Die Maker's Handbook, and this one was produced by, let's see, written and illustrated by Jerry Arnold, and it was copyrighted in 1980, and that's a really good book. This one actually This book right here, if you're really interested in this stuff, tells you a lot about die design theory and various techniques, and you'll get a lot out of that. It's really enjoyable. This book was, let's see, who did this book? This was, it was published by the Westlake Publishing Company in Chicago, Illinois, and it was compiled by J.E. Antonidis, I guess you call him. So there's a couple of good books you might be interested in looking for. You know, I paid top dollar for them, but you'll probably find them on eBay in the used book section for probably practically nothing now. So if you have any questions, put it in the comments. This kind of stuff has been my life, and I enjoy talking about it. So let's get on with a regularly scheduled program now. And now we're preparing the raw stock for these bearing retainers. And I've got a fence set up here on my bandsaw, kind of jake-legged together. And this is the old bearing retainer that's, you can see this is the broken one. And there's two of these. And we've got the distance set up between the saw blade and the fence. Kind of used the old ones here, or the old one here for reference. And this is my sheet of micarta that I've got. This is 094 thick, and I haven't really changed the speed of my saw blade. I could actually really speed it up, but we're just going to leave it where it is. Should be a quick and easy cut. So let's go ahead and get this cut. We'll cut the first one and see how we come out. And we're looking for a dimension of 1 inch. And with my calipers here, I've got 0.999 here, and 0.1 inch right here, and 0.995 and a half there. So that's pretty good. I might smooth this edge out a little bit with a file, but there's our raw stock. I do have to cut it to length. Now I'm making a temporary drill fixture to put the pilot holes in this retainer. This is one of the old ones. And this is just a scrap piece of steel that I put in there. I've taken a mill pass down through here, and I've gone through with a small end mill to relieve that corner. And this will be my drill station right here, and it can be anywhere random on this piece, and so we'll just put it right kind of more or less in the center of this fixture. Then this hole right here will be for what I call the A part, and we'll put a pilot in here. So what will happen is we drill a hole and we lift it out, we put it over that pilot, drill, lift that out, put it over the pilot, drill, out, over the pilot, drill, and so on and so forth till we've got our holes. Now for the other piece we have a different hole spacing. So what we'll do there is we'll drill, put it over the B pilot, and hopefully that'll work out. So now what we have to do is we have to pick up this edge so we know where to put this, where the drill station will be. And in the fixture we'll just have a clearance hole, but the spindle has to be located accurately from this surface right here out to here. So we have to pick this up. So now this is a very small edge. How are we going to do that? Well, there's several different ways, but what I'm thinking about is I have a wiggler in my box that hasn't been out to see the sunshine in many years. So I think I'll use that wiggler, and I'll show you a little bit more about that. So I think I know right where this wiggler is. I think it's in this drawer right here. So let's look in here and see what we got. So here's my wiggler right here, and most people are used to seeing the points on these, and we know how this works. But I have an attachment for it. I have a couple attachments. This is the one we're looking for right here. So let's use this one right here to locate that surface, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. So first of all, this pointer comes out. And now this ball goes in. We have several different methods to pick that surface up, but I wanted to use this because, well, I thought maybe you may not have seen one of these. So, okay, let's get set up in the drill chuck and we'll pick that edge up. By the way, this is a 200 thousandths ball, so when this thing offsets, we know we're 100 thousandths away from being exactly on our edge that we're locating. Okay, so far so good. We've got our 3 parts ready, our 3 bearing retainers ready to punch. So I guess we're going to have to try out the die. I've got the die set up over here and we're ready to go. I'll have to swing that on an angle to be able to get the raw stock through there. So I've got a couple of little test pieces ready here, and we'll punch those first and see how it goes. So okay, we'll get right after that. Okay boys, we're ready to try this die out. This is live and on camera, so here we go. So I'll lift this up with my trusty die bar. Come down. Well, I guess we're through. Uh-oh. We didn't quite go deep enough. The slug stuck in the hole. Yeah. Okay, well, let me knock that out of there. Okay, we do have to penetrate a little bit deeper, but we did get a fairly nice looking pierce. No burr on the back side. Didn't break out on the sides. Yeah, okay. So I don't know if that's focusing, but there's the two tests that we did. I think we're ready to start cutting on our material now. So like I described earlier, here's the way this works. I lift this die up, I let it down until the pilot enters. I move the stock over against the guide and ready to take a pierce. Okay. Lift it up. And as a bonus, we get these little fiber pieces that we can use as shims. Okay guys, I think this turned out pretty well. We have our bearing retainers done, ready to put them in the machine and start putting the old girl back together. So until the next video, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. Merry Christmas to everybody. See ya.